Hey everybody, it's Becky. I'm back today with my final review of the All About Reading curriculum that we've been using over the last month or so. If you have missed either of the two videos that I did about why we switched from what we were using to All About Reading, and then also I did a video showing a close-up look at a typical lesson for the All About Reading Level 1 program. If you missed either of those two videos, I will link them in the description box below. This video is just to sit down and really talk to you a little bit more in depth about the program and my thoughts and feelings on it, and then a little bit about the company. So I'm going to put my glasses on just because I cannot read my notes without my glasses. Plus it's an educational video and I look smarter, don't I? Anyway, All About Reading was designed by Marie Ripple. Her son was diagnosed with severe dyslexia when he was a child, and they were told that he was never going to be able to read or spell. As a parent, that would be extremely devastating news, and I'm sure it was for them. But Marie, using her teaching background, decided to design this program for her son and also for any other child that might be having a little bit of a struggle with learning to read or spell. Since then, the company has been growing rapidly because so many people have discovered that it is such a great program. Whether your child has any type of learning disability or not, the way that the program is designed works for so many different types of learners. Whether you're a visual learner, an auditory learner, or a kinesthetic learner, this program works for all of those different types of learning styles. So if you don't already know, All About Reading and All About Spelling, which are the same company, but All About Reading uses magnetic letter tiles and a flashcard based system with a student workbook. So there's a lot of review and a lot of techniques that will appeal to each learning style. They'll do a little bit of work in each lesson out of a workbook. They do a little bit of work with the magnetic letter tiles, and they do a little bit of work with the flashcards. So you're getting all of those different types. Since it does appeal to all the different learning styles, it's also a great program to use if you are teaching more than one child to read at the same time, if they're on somewhat the same reading level. It's a great program for that because you don't have to go out and buy a program that maybe would be better for a kid that is an auditory learner and then a program for a kid that maybe is a kinesthetic learner. This program really encompasses all those different styles. And since it does involve flashcards, there are a lot of great games that you can play with the flashcards to keep it fun and interesting. My daughter doesn't actually mind just sitting down and flipping through them with me. So right now that's all we've done. But there's actually a blog on the All About Reading website you can go to for some ideas of flashcard review games, and I'm sure you could probably find a ton on Pinterest as well. So I'll link the All About Reading blog post about the flashcards in the description box below. We switched reading programs in the middle of kindergarten from what we were using to All About Reading. If you want a more in-depth description and reason kind of why we switched, you can watch that video. It's linked below. But basically, I wanted a more structured and a more scripted reading program. Something that made a little bit more sense in the approach and the pace of the curriculum. And pace was a big problem we were having with our previous curriculum. And then I wanted something that was going to be a little bit more comprehensive, that was going to tell me step by step what to teach, when to teach it, and in a sense that, in an order that made sense, so that my daughter wasn't having these big jumps in the level of difficulty. So it's a step-by-step program, and each step built upon the other. There's a lot of review, which is great. So it always keeps old concepts fresh in their mind while you're introducing new concepts and new words. So my general review of it is I love it. I think we're on lesson 29 right now. We've already done blends and consonant teams. And now we're working on the double L, the double F, and the double S words at the end. And she has been doing really well. And it just seemed like last week in particular, it just seemed like it clicked. I mean, I was writing words on the board from her fluency sheet of that lesson, and every word I wrote on the board that she had never seen before, she could read, like quilt and smash and just crazy, just these crazy words that she never has seen before, never had read before. And I was writing them down, and she would read them, and I'd say, "You can read," and she'd look at me like, "Why are you so excited?" But I was so excited because it just seems like to me that it has finally clicked in her brain. And I'm sure there's going to be things down the road that we're going to struggle with as things get harder and as we add more spelling into her language arts program. But she's been doing so well, and I'm so proud of her, and I think she's proud of herself too, and she got kind of embarrassed when I was squealing at her. But I was just so happy that, you have that light bulb moment when you see your kids have that light bulb moment. It's really exciting as their parent and as their teacher to be able to be the one that's partially responsible for that, and then to be so proud of them that they've reached that milestone. And I'm really excited about getting her hyped up about being able to get her own chapter book soon that she can read on her own, and she's really excited about that. So We've loved the program so far. The lessons are very short. You don't have to spend an hour doing reading every day unless you want to. And I'll link the video below showing a typical lesson kind of setup so you can kind of get an idea of how much time each lesson will take and kind of how the process it follows and all that stuff. If you're curious, you can also check the All About Reading website. There they have, for every level of their reading program, they have placement tests. They have a sample of the teacher's manual for that lesson, a sample of some typical worksheets out of the student workbook for each lesson. They also have some samples of the readers that go along with the program that you can see kind of how the readers look and the artwork and all that's going to be in those. So their website is really a great place to go if you want more information, you want to really see even more closely than I showed you what each lesson looks like. And of course the placement tests are important, particularly if you're going to jump into the All About Reading program from maybe a different reading program and you want to make sure your child is going into the right level. That's a great place for you to go and look over the placement tests, print them out, give them to your child, and work with them to see really what level they're going to fall into. Also an option for you, and I have found this extremely helpful, is their customer service is amazing. I called them before I decided to make the switch to the All About Reading program. And it was late in the day, I think it was after 5 o'clock. I got a really nice lady who talked to me for like 30 or 45 minutes and kind of held my hand, which I've talked before about needing to have my hand held sometimes when it comes to homeschooling. Because what we were doing wasn't working, and I didn't know if it was just there was something wrong with me, that I was teaching it wrong, or maybe the program wasn't working, and I really wanted somebody to kind of talk me through what I was feeling, what I was going through. And the lady was super nice, and she basically backed up what I said. The trouble that I was having with the previous reading program was not all in my head. I was kind of explaining to her some of the specific things that were issues, and she's like, yeah, that's something that you wouldn't really be taught till later on, after other concepts are taught and really honed in early on. An example of a problem I was having with the previous, not just the previous reading program, but the reading structure in general, Dolch sight words that they teach a lot in public schools. My oldest daughter was public schooled until the middle of 4th grade. So she learned to read very, very quickly, and she's an excellent reader, and she always did really well. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with memorizing the word list from the Dolch sight word list. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the reason I was having trouble teaching it is because you tell your children that the reason we have sight words is because these are words that don't follow the typical phonics rules. But as I was going through the list and my youngest daughter was learning more and more sight words, which she was doing really well with, I was like, well, you can sound that word out. Why is it saying it's a sight word when you can sound that word out? And so then when I would show her her flashcards, she'd say, can I sound this one out? Or I'd say, well, yeah, you can sound this one out. Go ahead and sound this one out if you don't know it. And then this one you can't sound out. You need to remember what this one is. And I was like, well, am I crazy? So I was talking to the All About Reading rep, and she's like, no. And there's actually a video and a blog post, again, on the All About Reading website, talking about really, in reality, pretty much every word on the Dolch sight word list can be sounded out phonetically if you know the phonics rules. And that's what I was having trouble with. So the All About Reading program does not use, even though it's a flashcard, a lot of flashcards are involved, it does not use a big long list of sight words that your child's going to have to remember. There are very few sight words that are actually taught in the All About Reading program, because everything else on the Dolch sight word list can be sounded out, except for maybe 10%, I think it is, of the list. Everything else can be sounded out phonetically. So that took a big weight off my shoulders of, first of all, having a big stack this thick of flashcards of sight words to go through, but then also the fact that I wasn't crazy, that they can be sounded out, a lot of them. And I think the reason why, and I've heard this before, the reason why public schools use the sight word system so much is because they want to get kids reading quickly. And so knowing that the words on the Dolch sight word list make up like 80 or 90% of our most frequently read words, they put them on that list so that if your child remembers them, then they'll be able to read more quickly, which is true, and it does work. I've seen it work with my oldest daughter. But being able to homeschool and being able to kind of choose the way that I want my daughters to learn is one of the benefits. And so even though I know she might not learn to read as quickly as my oldest daughter did in public school, I think in the long term it's going to help her. She's going to understand more phonetically how to sound things out, how to spell things. So I think it's the right choice to take a lot of the sight word aspect out of the reading programs and only really focus on the ones that cannot be sounded out phonetically, and there are very few that cannot be sounded out phonetically. So we have had so much success with the All About Reading program. We're going to go ahead and continue it through the summer just to keep her things she's already learned fresh in her mind, just to keep everything going. I don't plan on stopping reading over the summer, but that's okay because like I said, the lessons take maybe at the most 10-15 minutes. I mean, you can make it longer if you want to, and of course outside of that we have reading time where I'll read to her and she can read to me and things like that. But I definitely plan on continuing that over the summer. She's halfway through the level 1, so I probably will have to purchase level 2 here pretty soon. And then also going into first grade in the fall, I definitely plan on trying the All About Spelling level 1. I thought about adding that this year, but since we switched reading curriculums mid-year, I really didn't want to start a whole lot of new things. So I definitely plan on adding that to her curriculum for her first grade school year starting in the fall. Another benefit, if you already have the All About Reading program or you're going to purchase it, the All About Spelling program uses the same magnetic letter tiles that you use in All About Reading. Those are the same ones you'll be using in All About Spelling. So it saves you a little bit of money there. If you decide to do both programs at the same time, you'll be using those same magnetic tiles. A final note to make is the All About Reading and All About Spelling programs have a 100% guarantee. So you have a full year to use the curriculum, to see how you like it, to see how your child likes it and how they're progressing. And if within that year you find that it's not working for you, you can return the product and get a full refund, less return shipping and handling. So even if you used the program before, even if you used All About Reading level 1 and 2 and you start level 3 and find that it's not working for you, you can still return level 3 even if you were a previous customer and used previous levels before. So that gives you a lot of peace of mind, because I think as homeschoolers, and I've talked about this before, a lot of times if we purchase a curriculum, you spent the money on it, so you feel like you have to push through and make it work and go ahead and continue to use it, even if it's not working for you or your child or both, because you feel like I'm going to waste the money, or we don't want to switch programs because we've already started this program and it's going to confuse everybody if we switch. I know those are valid thoughts, and I've had those thoughts before too, but sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and go ahead and decide, hey, this is not working anymore, and I don't want it anymore, and you either have to sell it on eBay and take a loss or something on it. So it's nice to know that 1 year 100% guarantee is available for you to use, to have time to really use the program and make a decision on whether or not it's working, and then if it's not, you can go ahead and return it. So that gives you some peace of mind as a parent. Also, one thing that I found out the hard way, but it was good for me to know so I could tell you in this video, All About Reading, they will replace up to 5 of your letter tiles if you lose them. My dog somehow managed to get a hold of my daughter. I think 3 of her tiles had fallen off of her board. And I knew he was chewing on something, but I thought it was just something he was supposed to have, and so I didn't think anything of it. And I looked over there the next day where he'd been laying, and there were 3 little chewed up magnetic tiles. And I emailed the company and I said, what do I do if my dog ate my daughter's letter tiles? And she was really nice, and she said they will replace up to 5 magnetic letter tiles for free. So that's good to know, that if you have a dog that tends to eat things, or if you lose some of your letter tiles or something like that, they will replace up to 5 for free for you. So that was a great thing to find out. But that is my full review of the All About Reading program. As I said, we're really enjoying it. I like how short the lessons are, because as she gets older, we're adding more and more things to her curriculum, and I don't want to be like spending an hour on each subject. There's just not time in the day to do that. But just because the lessons are short does not mean that they are skimpy by any means. They make sense, they have a logical sequence, they're multi-sensory, so they're learning, they're touching their letter tiles, they're doing the activities in their workbook, they're working through the flashcards, and I think it's a great program. I really, really love it, and I hope to continue to use it as she advances through the levels. I definitely intend to keep up with it. I see no reason why I wouldn't. She enjoys it, I enjoy it, and it seems to be working really well with her, and it makes sense to her, and it clicks with her. She gets it, it's logical, and I just think it's a great program. If you have any questions, let me know. Please like this video if you do, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.